All right. What's up, everybody? We've got Matcherino's Estrella in the top right side of this best of 5 quarterfinals. Dragon Kaiser Gaming's Dark in the bottom left. And it's going to be a very early probe across the map here for Estrella. Dark has been letting his natural get blocked for a long time. And he has not learnt the 15 hatchery build order yet, and I don't think he will. Now, basically, the kind of ongoing meme is basically Dark likes hamburgers, Estrella is a bit more of a tofu guy. And you got to keep in mind as well, basically everyone who lives in San Diego is a vegan. That's what you've got to kind of continue. If you guys are ever harassing Estrella in his stream chat or anything like that, not that he's been streaming lately, definitely get those comments out there and continue the memes. He forced me to rename my account to Cow, so I've been quite upset about that. But you know what? I actually really like his chances in this series. Even though Dark is a big, overwhelming favorite versus him normally, Estrella comes in as a player who has recently taken a few series off him. He's been on a tear, very creative build orders, and it feels like he's just playing his own game again. Nice harassment so far. Notice how Dark is getting denied mineral patches. His drones are all bouncing around awkwardly. Dark is one of the players who's weaker against this harassment. He doesn't really focus much on bothering to counter micro. He just kind of ignores it. So it's really worth putting a bit of attention into this as long as you don't mess your build up at home. Nexus and Cybercore go there. Second gas and second pylon up at home. Looks like the sound somehow got turned off. Sorry about that, guys. Got to hear those juicy noises when things like the spawning pool finish. 2 queens and 4 zerglings on the way. Dark actually went for the third base on the left. Estrella never scouted that, but he's going to go up and see it in a moment. All right, we've got the Zergling speed now on the way, pulling off gas. Actually, leaving 1 on gas to give himself a little bit of future flexibility. Stargate goes up for Estrella, very standard play. Now let's think about what are some special builds Estrella could pull out. I'm really wondering. I think he might actually play very standard and just very safe in game 1. Usually what we'll see from Estrella is like really weird Nexus first builds. Super fast third base builds depending on the map. And I guess he does mix in some Twilight builds. But just going Oracle into Blink is something he's very well acquainted with. I'm not sure if he's been favoring Stalker Storm or Stalker kind of Disruptor Colossus styles lately. Adept does stay at home. It's going to be able to deny these Zerglings. But look at Dark's micro. He says, you can't stop both of us at once, mate. Good micro. Probe looks like it's going to get hunted down on the way home. There's a Zergling waiting on the ramp. Adept's trying to escort it. But the Ling gets it. Estrella not watching right there. Too distracted by these other Zergling, which you can see this Adept has a kill on it. Did take out the other Ling, but he loses his probe for that. So nice micro in the chaos for Dark. Second injects have already gone down for him. Third queen's coming out, and there is an Oracle on the way. Now, did Dark see the Stargate? Yeah, he saw the Stargate. He knows exactly what's happening. We should see a Spore Crawler up in the main. All right, so the early game has been a big problem for Dark. Dark is often falling behind in the early game. And when he does, it's really hard for him to come back. Even though Dark is kind of, one of these crazy comeback players who can never count out because of his multitasking, his ability to just scrap together a Ravager comeback, second to none. Oh, no, not a good dive. Oh, he's going to get a drone or 2, but he takes a fair bit of damage. Oracle heavily bruised. So back on point, right? Oh, wait, that's a quick lair. That's a real quick lair, guys. We're going to see a Queen Ling Nydus. All right, Queen Ling Nydus all in game 1. Estrella's going Twilight Council. If he goes for a few more gateways and goes Glaive Adept, that's a hard counter build. Third gas has been spotted. Yeah, so Dark does this build all the time, and Estrella is one of the best players at preparing for Dark's builds because Dark's been using the exact same 5 build orders in ZvP for the last 4 years. He hasn't really been updating his toolbox. He still has a great success rate with it, so it's hard to criticize. But you're going to see that Nydus Worm go down any moment now. There we go. Now the question is, can Estrella figure out this is happening? It's very hard to see because he sees a lot of drones here. That looks pretty normal, right? Adepts come in, Lings are going to surround them. Estrella needs to realize something's happening. He's going for Glaive Adepts. He's got a 3rd and 4th gateway coming up. The Nydus Worm's going to be hitting very soon. And if he loses the production in his main, he's in trouble. If he has any idea that this is on the radar, that this is coming, he would scout the edge of his main. But he's not scouting it. That Overlord's getting dangerously close to spotting that main base for the Nydus. Oh, okay, he sees Mass Queen. He comes in the main, he sees a quick lair, a lacking second gas. I think Estrella should know what's happening. Let's go to Estrella's vision. He's warping in 4 Adepts in the natural. He's going to go build a pylon on the left of the main. He realizes what's happening. He sees the lings flooding across the front as well. There's a Nydus, but guess what, guys? It's actually going outside the base. Oh no! Adepts out in the open! Estrella! Oh, big doo-doo for Estrella there. His probe's getting caught out as well. He's going to try and block that shield battery from getting surrounded. But losing 3 Adepts before anything even gets started, a huge problem. New Nydus Worm goes up in the back of the natural at the same time. Remember, these guys are both in Korea right now, so there's no ping advantage. Oracles turn on those lasers, and they will shut down the Nydus Worm. Very important that he got that defense. He's also going to full wall his natural. And Resonating Glaives is going to finish in about 15 seconds. He has survived the scariest part of the build. He's up about 20 workers. And I think Dark, he's running out of time. If he doesn't get some more damage done real soon, he's in trouble. The Overlord's going to die in the back of the natural to that Stalker. The Lings and Queens are just going to go for it. Estrella out in the open again! Oh, huge mistakes for Estrella in this game, guys. Oh, man. I mean, it's okay because apparently he just has enough Adepts. They ruin the Zerglings in a head-to-head fight, but definitely he could be a little more careful. You cannot give Dark an opportunity to surround you like that. Dark's already droning up behind this. Battery overcharge is going to be ready in 5 seconds. New shield battery is about to come up as well. Those queens are doing crazy damage. Battery overcharge needs to go down, but there's a new one up in the main. That Nydus Worm in the main's a problem. He's building batteries on the high ground. He is not battery overcharged. He doesn't realize it's off cooldown. That Nydus in the main is going to cause him trouble. Oh my god, he's losing so many Adepts. He hasn't overcharged. Estrella's in big trouble. Dark creating chaos, and it is hurting. But the Oracles do clean up those Zerglings. They quickly try to dive in towards the main base, and they will get 1 or 2 more probes before the Oracles clean those up. At the end of the day, Estrella should be miles ahead here. The fact that he did this build order, and it is a bit of a counter build, he should have been miles ahead. He still, I would say, is ahead, but the fact that units lost tab is reasonably even is a little... it takes away just a little bit of the impetus, a little bit of the growth and advantage that he would have had. Infestation pits on the way, telling us Dark wants to go for a quick hive, most likely. However, recently, Dark has been doing something which is objectively terrible in this matchup, which is going for Mass Roach Ravager Infester. And this is his comeback style. He likes to do that composition when he's behind because he's very good at casting spells. But it simply is kind of trash versus Protoss in the long term. I guess it's quite good against Blink Stalkers for a little bit in the mid-game. Well, we're going to see. Is it a quick hive, or is it going to be that fungal Ravager style that he is just obsessed with? Yeah, it's fungal Ravager. Oh my god, he's going for Infestors right now. Dark is such a weirdo. I love it, man. I love it. The guy is just, he's like, I like Infestors. Let's go, man. Yeah, even though Estrella made, I would say, what, 4 big mistakes in his defense. He lost the Adepts here the first time, the 3 Adepts, then he lost a bunch more. He's still in a very powerful position with this Mass Adept counterattack. It's still mostly, what, 9 Roaches, 3 Infestors, 8 Queens? There's not a lot of answer to these 28 Glaive Adepts. This is a crazy counterattack. He's just going to YOLO it. Estrella is going for broke right now, and he's just going to dive on in there and try to fight this. He's going after the drones a little bit. So it's a weird amount of Adepts that he's committed to. Many would say an overcommitment. He only gets 10 drones there, but he's going to keep shading in. And shading in and focusing down the drones is the key. If he can focus down a lot of workers, he might be okay. The problem is he doesn't really have a great follow-up. He's got no other units, no Void Ray behind this, no Stalkers. He's still just trying to dive Adepts, and those are obviously trading poorly versus the Roaches. Actually, here they take an okay trade because they outnumber so much. There we go. That's where you get the damage. The moment he manages to shift-click some drones, they disappear so fast. Adepts at the front getting cleaned up by the Roaches. A few more going to dive it in the main. He's going to get a lot of mining time, 30 workers, and you know what? He's got a second a Robo Bay on the way. He's got Stalkers warping in. Shield batteries on his bases. His Oracles both have a good amount of energy, so they can also turn on those lasers to defend the counterattack. And Dark finds himself knocked down to 40 drones. Let's go to Dark's camera. Get inside the head of a desperate Zerg. He's trying to re-drone. Trying to move Queens down to that 4th base. He's trying to transfuse it to save the base. He needs to keep it alive, but no! The Oracles even kill his 4th base. Oh, from bad to worse for Dark right now. No balance line in the chat, guys. That's for a Buckstar shot. It's a few comments in a row. Zerg is definitely not fine. Dark is pretty dead. And this is Dark. He's the comeback master. 4th base is there on the way as well. General rule I have in my live chat for those who are watching later on YouTube is no balance line. A little bit here or there is okay, but generally you know, people keep going on about it. It just takes away from the focus of what the players are doing well to win their StarCraft games. And it's something where, even though StarCraft's a very hard game and it is very competitive and there's different asymmetric factions, so it's very hard to see like who is better, who is worse, and when are things unfair or fair, because it's so hard to choose. And focusing on that and letting my Twitch chat turn to that really takes away the focus from basically just, you know, enjoying the game and the fact that it is still very skill-based. At no point do we see random no-name players suddenly just beating the top players in the world. It is, you know, it's one of those things where we're so used to it being so well-balanced. We see a 1% shift this way or that way, a 2% shift that way, you know, a map pool that isn't so good for a certain matchup, that sort of thing, and people definitely start to get their knickers in a knot a little bit. Don't really engage with those comments too much on YouTube. I just kind of ignore them. But on Twitch, I definitely try to make sure the chat doesn't go too far in that direction. Anyways, Stalker's blinking forward right now. Disruptor got taken out by Corrosive Bile. Dark's army is hard countered by Disruptors, so of course, he takes out one of the Disruptors instantly at the start of the fight. Manages to get an Observer as well. This man is the god of Bile fungal combos. I don't think he has the numbers for it to really matter. Estrella realizes, oh my god, but Estrella's actually getting a bit too pig-headed with this. And that definitely was some dirty fungals that he was taking to the face. He's got 2 Adepts coming in from the right. Looks like he kind of F2'd those forward. These Disruptors looking for a big juicy shot. The Queens try to focus fire the Disruptor. Oh, Dark just splits a few Roaches. Focusing these down with these Ravager Roach splits. Great plays by Dark here, turning this into a bit of a scrap fest and actually taking out a lot of the expensive Protoss units. These fights, even abducting Stalkers and Disruptors here at the tail end. Problem is, Estrella realizes he has the numbers, and the moment you're out of energy and you're fighting with these unupgraded Hydras, Queens, and Roaches, he has the numbers. And even with some pretty bad fights for Estrella, he just took out so many valuable units for the Zerg that it might actually be okay. Obviously, Stalkers are way more expensive than Roaches, so that trading is still awkward. The supply count is awkward. Actually, overall, as the dust settles, man, there's still creep everywhere. He lost his Observer, so he can't even go clearing up creep. The supply count's really good for Dark right now. 74 versus 50 on the army supply. Stalkers and Zealots trying to fight. There's no charge. The Disruptors are off cooldown. One of them is going to be ready to fire again in a moment. Estrella's just trying to kill Dark. He's trying to say, look, I was far enough ahead. There's no way I can lose this game if I just force a fight, right? Dark pulls drones there in a little bit of panic. I like that Estrella pulls back. And I'd like to see him take a 5th base as well as keep up the Disruptor production. Right now, 4 Disruptors rallying to the front. 5th base does get taken. Notice how he's been transferring his workers pretty well, but his natural is oversaturated. So he's got to transfer workers from there out to this 5th. Stalkers and Disruptors trying to fight it out. Dark is the one Zerg who has a habit of surviving in these sorts of games. I think bringing it back is a huge long shot because his upgrades suck. He's only got +2 range. He doesn't have much else going for him. The Vipers died in that previous fight, which is such a big problem. He goes in and takes out a Disruptor, takes out another one, but he loses a lot of Roach Hydra for that. Remember, these are 8-range Lurkers. They are not that powerful. There's Observers coming in. Oh, he goes for the Disruptor snipe and actually only loses a few Roaches for it. You've got to realize Estrella's big mistake there is he didn't attack move with the Stalkers. He was so focused on the Disruptor micro, he tried to pull back one Disruptor and cover it with another Disruptor shot. Dark's micro is too good for that. You need to make sure you're doing consistent damage to really punish him. You need things like Stalkers, Zealots, just A-moving, doing damage, so as he's spreading against the Disruptors, he's still getting punished for it. Nice Disruptor shot does go on the left, gets only a single Roach though. Dark once again taking out these Disruptors. Dude, the power of Dark's micro. Estrella's got to be a little frustrated with this. I mean, these fights are so bad for him considering where the numbers in tech are at. This is like just... Estrella is very aware right now that Dark is out-microing him with a worse army. And the thing is, pretty much every Protoss player that gets over Eager versus Dark has experienced this before. He's done this versus the best Protoss players in the world. We've seen Hero throw games away where he's up 30, 40, 50 supply versus Dark because Dark is such a good defender. Protoss comes in, does deny the 5th base. Nice move there for Estrella. Looks like a few Lings get in on that base, but he's got batteries, he's got cannons, he's warping in Zealots. Still feels like a decent spot for Estrella. One thing is when you're trying to go crazy aggressive like Estrella is, a Prism in the main could just win the game. 9 Zealots in the main base, 2 Queens, 2 Hydras ain't going to stop that. And this is with the Prism being spotted ahead of time. I love the split push choice though. Blinks in, snipes the 5th base. Dark doesn't have that much map vision right now. He's got a little bit of creep that he's still spreading in the middle of the map. Trying to take a new hatchery. He's trying to wriggle his way out of trouble. Essentially, we're watching Estrella in full mount, and he's just raining down punches, and somehow Dark is actually the one who's landing elbows from the bottom, and he's making Estrella bleed. Estrella still should absolutely knock him out and win here, but Dark is at least putting some question marks in what should have been a hopeless position for him. A couple of lurker shots put all the stalkers deep down. Lurkers do hard counter stalkers, so be careful making plays like that. Estrella's trying to come in the main. Queens are ready, but the Zealots will drop on top of that. I love the three-prong aggression from Estrella. This is so hard for Dark to handle. Roaches try to punish the Disruptor. Stalkers blink forward. Zealots take out the Queens in the main, and you can see the cost efficiency is actually getting in the positive. Estrella's already been ahead on income for a while in this game and ahead on tech, but now he's actually using the positioning to pick apart Dark. In this scenario, we are playing mass Zealot Stalker with just a few tech units. It's actually the Zerg player who's playing more like a Protoss with Lurkers, Roaches, and Hydras. Very tech-heavy and mobile units. You're the one who has to play like a Zerg, and that's what Estrella's finally doing. The Zealots and Stalkers coming in from multiple sides, but Dark snipes the Prism. Great pull of those Roach Hydras up there. And it looks like the Stalkers on the bottom still picking off things as they come in. The Zealots get cleaned up in the main. Fifth base here should be going down. Nice revelation. That Oracle from the early game. Disruptors take out another Lurker. Units lost have still up about 1,000 resources. Estrella in the lead in that regard. Dark's going to try to set up a counter-attack path. Often Dark's play when he's in this sort of position is say, okay, I'm never going to win the long game. I'm never going to make a Broodlord transition. If you make a Skytoss transition, I just lose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 25 Lurkers, and I'm going to shove on your production, and if I can catch you off guard with one good fight, I'll win the game. Stalkers dive into punish, though, and Dark just could not move forward. Let's watch those last few seconds again there. So what happened is he pulled his whole army. Dark saw it. Estrella saw it. Estrella pushes forward. He's like, wait a second, you don't have anything there. And he's like, wait a second. Oh, I'm losing my third. I can't really get through here. There's Disruptors holding me back. I can't even break the rocks. There's mass Disruptor Stalker. Dark just knew time was running out of the hourglass, and Estrella withstands the Nydus Queen Ling all in game one. A very good start for Estrella. Much needed to get some momentum. You're not going good against Dark if you lose an early game that easy. All right, guys. A lot of people were doubting me when I was saying that, you know, some of these top Korean dogs actually are hard matches. This man is the American hero right now. He's looking fantastic. He's in his element. He had a great year last year, and he's really feeling good right now in the middle here of 2023. Dark, though, is going for... Is that a proxy hatch? Oh, it's gold base. Is it? No, it's a hatch block. Oh, so Dark's going to go for a hatchery block, guys. It may even be a proxy hatch. We'll see what he does. He's trying to make it look like a normal expand build. Estrella didn't check for the hatchery last game, and you got to check for the hatchery. Oh, no. He's going to proxy hatch. Estrella, you need to go check. If Estrella doesn't check for the expansion being down, then there's no tell. But Estrella didn't check last game, and this is a big problem him and MaxBax have had versus Dark in the online weekly cups, guys, is not double checking. If you don't double check, you end up in so much trouble. Look, he's pylon blocking because he's like, Dark might come back to get the expansion. No. And he sees the gas. He's like, oh yeah, this is just a completely standard follow-up. Now I'm going to mineral harass you. No, you need to go confirm the third's down. If you don't see the third, you can't go for the Nexus. He's gonna go down there. The drone is hiding because then Estrella's going to think, oh, maybe he took it on the other base. Okay. Okay, no, he's going Cybercore before Nexus and he's scouting. Okay, Estrella realizes who he's playing against. Dark is so cheesy in this matchup lately, guys. He's so cheesy, and nice play by Estrella. Gets a second pylon, gets a Zealot getting chrono boosted. I would argue maybe should have waited on that chrono on the Zealot, but actually I think the second pylon will be ready in time, so it's okay. The Cybercore is early, and it looks like he's going to go a Robo follow-up, guys. So I think what he's going to do is one base Robo, and he's just going to make Immortals, Zealots, and Stalkers. You could also try to make shield batteries out here, but it's a little... Actually, no, that would work, because this was a hatchery first. This isn't a pool gas or gas pool version. So he actually can deny this. Dark realizes this isn't going to work. He's just going to take an expansion at home, because he's like, well, okay, I've been scouted, jigs up, transition. He's still making Zerglings at the front. I think he cancelled the Queen, though, that he started there. Started the Queen at home. And yeah, he's gone back to droning. That's the tell right there. There's a lot of lava still sitting at home. Dark does need to spend that money, though. Finally, Dark only just now queued up those 3 drones. He was still waiting. He's like, maybe Estrella will build a Nexus. Maybe. Gets a Zergling in. And Estrella actually didn't build a tech structure. Cancels one of his shield batteries, which is a really good call by Estrella. And he can just go for his own Nexus and be in a pretty good spot. Don't get me wrong. Dark's done a pretty smooth transition. The expansion coming up. Estrella's like, oh, okay. And shield battery there. Nexus goes down. 3-minute Nexus. You might think it's pretty bad, but he can go straight for a Stargate. So the problem here for Dark is when that Oracle arrives, you don't really have many queens. It's hard to get your third base up. You know, there's a lot of problems for you. On the other hand, Estrella's building a sentry, and he's built 2 stalkers. None of these units are good for pressuring. And that makes me feel like maybe he's going Twilight. Is Estrella going to... Okay, there's 2 options in my mind. Estrella's either going to do a blink all-in off 2 base, which I doubt, or he's going to go for a quick third base, which is incredibly risky, because you have no idea what your opponent's doing in this follow-up. Robo goes down for him as well. He is non-stop probing. Third base is there for Dark. Notice that Estrella hit a pylon back there, and Dark not showing any signs of checking that area. He only now is sending his overlords out, and he hasn't put any on the edges of the map. Check the new overlords that are building. They are not going to the edge. Interesting. He's actually checking for proxies out here, but all on the left. Notice how he had those attack move paths all around the left of the map. He hasn't checked the bottom right. Oh, like he was clearing up all the shadows, but because he'd scouted here earlier in the game, he doesn't know about it. Dark Shrine is on the way. Snipe on that third could be game ending. You know it's going to be a delayed lair with this opening. Dark is like, yeah, that could be... Oh, wait, Dark might think that's a real Phoenix. He's building a Spore in the main, which he definitely does not need. He needs a Spore at the natural and at the third. Hatchery finishes, gets vision. The illusion of seeing everything near that base might be a fatal blow for him. Blink is on the way. I mean, Estrella's going to struggle to get a third base up. That's the issue with this build. Going to take out 2 Zerglings in retribution for losing the shield battery. Dark Shrine, about 15 seconds away. Dark, he's got no lair started, no second Spore Crawler. And there's really nothing here that sets off the alarm bells as a Zerg. Like, if I saw what Dark's seen, I'm not thinking about Dark Templar. Maybe now seeing the Prism. It's already a Dark Templar warping in there. Spore Crawler starts. The Prism actually ticked him off. If he didn't go show the Prism and just went for like 3 Dark Templar here, that might have been the better move, but he's only got 1 gateway. Oh, he's only got 1 gateway. That's kind of a mistake, isn't it? Oh, I actually think that's a bit of a doo-doo. Oh, he gets surrounded at the third, loses a Stalker and a Sentry and a Probe. As I said, you're going to struggle to take a third with this build. Doing all this off just 1 gate, not the best. Follow-up to a Proxy hatch that ended up transitioning. Uh-oh, Estrella, I think he just assumed he had 2 gateways like you normally would off a more normal opening. Dark Templar comes in, is going to force a few Spore Crawlers, pick off a couple drones potentially. There we go, grabs a drone, but oh no, he's going to go down. Yep, needed to run to the right there potentially to try and get out of there. The Ling Roach still has not seen that pylon, funnily enough. Dark Templar is in the main, careful. Takes a lot of damage, has to pull back. Great defense by Dark, who's on 3 base, 46 workers, and now Estrella is in a terrible position. This is what so I really feel if Estrella just played Stargate off of his opening, he would have been able to make things difficult for Dark with just some standard Oracle harass. But doing the Dark Templar style could have worked if he had 3 gateways, 4 gateways, warped in 3 or 4. He can kill that third base. And then it's totally fine to be 2 base first. 2 base, you can now take a lazy third and go from there. As it is, Estrella's all in. He's just going all in on Blink Stalkers, and Dark knows. Dark's sitting at 52 drones, massing Roach Ravager Ling. He's got Roach speed started, and yeah, there's just so little chance of this working, right? You've got, what, a Dark Templar that's going to backstab the natural, while Mass Blink is going to hit the right. I guess with really good Stalker micro, there is hope. We've seen crazy things happen with good Blink Stalker micro. Stalker's coming forward. No Roach speed just yet. Oh, there comes the army, though. He baits him in. Dark is such a clever, dirty boy, isn't he? Oh, man. And then Estrella tries to blink back to the right, but loses so many Stalkers in the process. That was a very good start to the fight, taking out 7 Stalkers. The Protoss wants to grow their Stalker count and make it go exponentially up. And just keep pulling them back, let them regen their shields. And it's always about just preserving the Stalker count and picking off those Zerg units. But Estrella's doing this more as like a very committed timing attack, a surprise kill move. And it's just catching Dark not unprepared at all. He was hoping to catch him unprepared. He's catching a very well-prepared Dark, and it's not what you want with this sort of timing. Stalker unloads from the Prism, does get taken out. These Roaches retreating off creep aren't the best, but now that Roach speed's done, Dark is more than maneuverable enough to hang on. Spinecrawler and Queen's going to make it really hard for Estrella. And if Dark loops around the left, he could even flank these Stalkers with a pack of Roach Ravager. The Observer does track that. He sees a big Roach counterattack coming. Estrella does have a third base starting. I wonder if he recalls these Stalkers to quickly defend. If he does want to do that, he's going to have to choose to do it very soon. Roach Ling trying to come in from behind. The Observer still sees it. Dark building a few more drones. He's down to just 42 workers. There's a dream for Estrella, but with no probe production, it's a dream of these Stalkers finding insane value, and they need to run now. They need to run. He's trying to micro. There's just so much Zerg here. The Roach Ravager relentlessly trying to chase him down. The Ling's being so frustrating to deal with. That Prism there seeing exactly what's up. 4 more Stalkers are warping in right now. He's going to keep bringing these in. It's just 7 gateways of Blink Stalkers just reinforcing at the front. No upgrades for either sides. The Evo Chamber does start for Dark. 70 army supply for Dark, 53 for Estrella. Considering how the micro went in the previous game, I worry that Estrella is not the guy to pick him off with crazy Blink Stalker control. Estrella is a very solid, well-rounded player, but he's no parting. And in this scenario, you want someone who's just obsessed with Blink Stalkers and has played thousands of hours of Blink all-ins to really find that value. Estrella's going to start probing and trying to go Disruptors behind, which is probably his best choice. I think that plays to his strengths. Stalkers trying to just pick away right now, trying to find what value they can. Units lost tab, only about 600 resources ahead for Estrella. Each time he picks off a Ravager, definitely helps out his chances. Couple of shield batteries building at the third. They're very clumped. Prediction, those 2 shield batteries will probably die to a bunch of shield batteries, a bunch of corrosive biles later on. Estrella's up on 52 workers, which might not sound like a lot. Because both players have lost half the mining in their main, you can see that they've transferred workers, and the third is actually mining quite okay. Zealot should intercept this Ling run by. There's a Stalker skirmish continuing at the front. That Zealot's going to go down. A few probes guarding the wall. And he's going to recall a few Stalkers and a Warp Prism. Not a bad idea. Probes guarding the wall is kind of funny. Melee's on the way as well as a second Evo Chamber. Dark's up to 66 workers. He has a 4th hatchery up and running. He's starting to blossom. And the first Disruptor has hit the field. The second one has not begun just yet. And that is because he's supply blocked. Oof. You can tell Estrella's not feeling it right now. He's a little bit thrown off. That's an uncharacteristic mistake. There's not that much going on in this game, but you can tell he feels tense, feeling like he needs to get more value than he's able to get out of these Stalkers. And that means he's like tunnel visioning on it a little bit. He's over-focusing on trying to pick off units, and that's why he's making the macro mistakes as well. Army supply is still pretty close. But now that we're at 70 drones for Zerg, you're going to see the Zerg max out is going to be brutal. Because there's no upgrades, right? The Forge is finished, but it hasn't started upgrading even one thing yet. There's 2 Disruptors on the field. And if any of those get picked off at all, Estrella's chances go goodnight. Luckily, though, Dark didn't build a Baneling nest. Okay, Dark is very slow on his tech. He does have the Infestation. I'd love to see a Hive and go straight for Vipers. But if he could just morph like 50 Banelings right now, he wins the game. But Baneling speed is so far away. Dark doesn't have that option. Nonetheless, he'll get a cancel on the 4th. Oh, Disruptor would be a good pick off in the open as well. Oh, Prism does save the Disruptor, but a Pylon goes down. Nexus gets cancelled. And look at this. He's attacking from all sides now. Dark feels like it's his turn to put the pressure onto the Protoss. But he sends some units home. He's still got a few units on the right of the map. Dark feeling a bit confused at max out. I think he's kind of like, not confused, but he doesn't want to fight front on, right? He wants to kind of get Estrella out of position and backstab him or surround him a little bit. And this one Observer has really helped Estrella not get surprised. 5 slow Banelings going to try to rally into that base. That'd be very sad if they do get in. Stalker's roaming the map on the left. Stalker Disruptor on the right. Estrella with some pretty good map vision, but he's distracted right now. And oh, the Banelings. Okay. Single Stalker's not going to defend that. Tries to take it out with the Disruptors. Banelings take out a Pylon, depowering the Robo. Oh, the Disruptors get caught at the front. The Mass Ravager Ling is actually a good army versus this. Who needs Banelings when you can just surround all the Stalkers with Lings? Archons are needed for Estrella in this scenario. He doesn't have them. And remember what I said. If you lose a few Disruptors, chances go pretty much good night. This Robo finally going to start to get depowered there. Fourth base is on the way, but Dark's taking a fifth. Dark also just took down the Observer with his Spore Crawler by walking that forwards. Whew. Ravages, Roaches, Zerglings, and Banelings on the right side of the map. Oh, Banelings try to detonate, but there's not enough of them to take out the Dark Templar. They'll pull back and morph into an Archon, most likely. A couple of Zealots running in the right side. Oh, the Changelings actually blocking the Zealots from getting in. Dark with the style plays. Does still lose a Queen up front, but look at that. The Zealots derping. The Banelings say, hello, boys, and they roll right on in. Ling Bane coming forward. Great disruptor shot to stop the front Zergling Baneling. A second one goes off really well. There's a lot more Banelings. A massive disruptor shot. Estrella with some crisp micro. Wow. He took some great disruptor shots there. Pieces of spectacular play mixed into what is a valiant effort from behind. Obviously, it is any victory Estrella finds seems to be a Pyrrhic one. I don't think he can have a counterattack and win. Dark has the ability to remax so much faster, and look at that. The Ling sneak around, plus 2 melee finishes. Adrenal Glands is about to finish. That base, not long for this world. 2 Zealots, not going to be enough to defend that bad boy. The Dark Templar turned back for a second as well. Fourth Nexus going down. Estrella does not have many places to mine from. Roach Ravager Ling coming on. Balls go flying. Both balls whiff. Dark says, I might be Korean, but I love America. I love hamburgers, and also I grew up playing dodgeball, mother trucker. He dodges the balls with ease, and he says, the bullies tried to get me back in the day. They missed as well, so do you. Estrella, Morphin Archons, probably going to go for one last desperation push. Second Robo in the main is still pumping those disruptors. First one out front is empty. I think Estrella is just basically playing it out, thinking about the game at this point. He doesn't really think he has a good chance of victory, but he's kind of going, all right, you know, fight it out to the last bit of moment. Always look for the mistakes. You never know if Dark has done something really silly with his macro and only sitting on 60 workers this whole time. Maybe, just maybe. Baneling's going to roll in the right. Oh, here we go, guys. Ling Ravages there. Apparently, chat says, someone says they think Estrella was attacking those rocks accidentally. Oh no, he starts the Nexus and the Banelings click on it and kill it instantly when it didn't have many hit points. Good catch for a very rich Dark. That's a great trade for him. So apparently Estrella's army was attacking the wall for about half of that fight. Even though the disruptors were great for Estrella, he didn't A-move his army. And that's something I pointed out in the previous game where he was over-microing his disruptors and not always attacking with his ground army, his stalkers, just kind of focusing on the specialty. Oh, disruptor shot on the top left does take out one of his own Archons as well as a pack of Zerglings, but he's just way too outnumbered, has been for so long in this game. And Dark there, even though his tricky opening gets scouted and blocked, he pivots and finds himself in a good spot. Well played by Dark to tie up the series. All right, guys, Estrella did lose that last one. If only he had a few more Dark Templar hitting that third, I think it would have been a fantastic opening for him. Such a good pylon. Unfortunate to use up one of your sneaky trick cards in that manner. Going to be going for a low ground gateway here. He is going for an early scout once again. Going to block the expansion of Dark. It looks like Dark's going to the purple base. Oh no, you're not. Really? Is he? Oh my god, he's going to commit to the purple base. Okay. So for those who don't know, this base has a purple gas geyser. The purple gas, it has a double mining. Gold minerals are only plus 40% mining, but purple gas is 100% bonus mining. So it's pretty damn effective, and people usually love to take that into big Ravager Queen all-ins because you get the extra gas off of that. We'll see though. Now, Estrella is known for doing, people are pointing, chat are pointing it out, 2 Nexus opening on this map. Where he'll take a Nexus, and then he'll take another third Nexus and fully wall off the front of his base. I don't know if he'll go for that here. Goes for the Nexus into the Cybercore. Pretty standard so far. Probe is just harassing. He didn't actually check to see where the expansion went, so he's not too afraid of the Proxy this time around. Estrella builds another probe. Starts a second gas. No second gas, guys. Gonna go second pylon. And I think he's going to go for that third base, maybe. This is an interesting build for sure. Overlord coming in right now for Dark. Estrella sees the drone start to transfer out to that purple base. Interesting. I really wonder what Estrella's plan is because he's staying on a single gas. Is he going to do like a charge all in or something? Ah, Robo. Oh, it's a 6-gate. He's just doing a straight up 6-gate, maybe 5-gate, guys. Okay, so what's really exciting about this, he's just going to make a prism, a whole bunch of gateways, and he's just going to go for a big attack. Could even be like a 7-gate, right? Like old school Hitman style almost. This is going to be very powerful. It's going to hit very hard, very fast. And Dark is going to be going for a 3rd base, droning up. Even if Dark's planning to do some sort of big aggression, it's gonna, it's not going to be hitting for a while. Like this is going to catch him most probably with his pants down. That being said, Ling's try to come in. Oh, Dark going for an Overlord Scout. Dark's going for an Overlord Scout. Genius. It's so rare to see Zergs do this versus Protoss. Because if they go Stargate and go for like a Phoenix or a Void Ray, they wreck you. But seeing the lack of gas and Estrella, I think he sees the Overlord. So he knows it's been spotted. He could transition off this. He could drop double gas right now and do a normal follow-up. Because he knows Dark should be dropping a Roach Warren right now. Very soon, Dark needs to drop that Roach Warren if he wants to be safe first. This Estrella takes the 2nd gas, 3rd gas. There we go. Yep. I think this is a smart move. Estrella's just going to do a little bit of light harassment with the Prism now. And he's going to try and get the overreaction. Dark starts the Roach Warren. Expect him to put back on gas and go for the 2nd gas. And he's going to start massing Roaches and Zerglings, probably off about 35 workers, which is a very low economy. And if Estrella just keeps probing in the meantime, sneaks out to a 3rd base, he could definitely make a decent play of it. 1 Adept going across the map with this Warp Prism. Lings are scouring the map. He's looking for Warp-in pylons. It's almost like Heart of the Swarm here with how much Dark's having a hunt for pylons after that last game. He knows that Estrella's a very tricky guy. Got to check for those warp-in points. Forge and Twilight are on the way behind this. Dark did stop at 33 drones. He's being exceptionally safe. Effectively mining as if he had 36 workers because of the purple gas, though. Double Adept drop coming in. Oh, there's actually a gap you can drop in there. I forgot about that. Gonna take out 1 Adept, does take out a 2nd one, and very nicely done. Almost gets 1 more. Ooh, does lose an Adept. Estrella just getting a little bit too cheeky, trying to get some extra damage. +1's on the way, and charge starting as well. Estrella still might be planning a 2-base timing. He stopped probing, and he's not taking a 3rd base. Ooh. Okay, I don't know, man. No 3rd base is always a little bit weird. It's just going to be Charge Arc and Immortal. On the other hand, look at what Dark's doing. Dark is just doing an all-in. I think Estrella knows this. He's like, yeah, Dark always just goes for a big all-in. If you show aggression and Dark overreacts, he will just say, well, I'm not going to drone now. It's too late. I might as well just keep making army and try to kill you. Oh, dude. Estrella's hiding in his main. He needs to get to his wall off right now. Estrella has no idea this is coming. He has no idea this is coming. Oh, no. On the plus side, he can defend the high ground ramp. But he's only got 2 gateways. He's got 3 immortals. Those probes need to run. Those probes need to run right now. Get those probes out of there, son. Get back to the ramp. Oh my god, the Ling Ravager. If he had a bunch of Zealots and Archons, he might be able to hold. But without that, this is very difficult. Oh my lord. You know what? I think I watched this exact same matchup of builds between these two in a weekly cup last month. I'm having deja vu right now. This is exactly what happened between these two players last month in the exact same game. The Adepts just went in and killed 7 more drones. Oh man, you know, if he holds, he's still up in workers. If he can hold in this main, then he's okay, but having that right side production depowered is a problem. The Prism saving these Immortals is the GOAT, but watch for the Biles in the mineral line, Estrella! 6 probes go down to those Biles, so many probes going down. The Immortals are almost dead, 1 falls, another Immortal is almost here, but losing the gateway power is so problematic. Just imagine if he got like 5 or 6 Zealots warped in here. 5 or 6 Zealots. Oh, damn. Estrella is such a good setup for him, but he just doesn't realize that Dark is planning his own all-in. Dark's all-in hits a little bit earlier, just when Estrella's gateways are getting ready. Estrella was going to go for a push about 2 minutes after that, and he just did not have the army, did not have the correct units. Immortals, not very good units versus Ravagers and Zerglings. He needed the Zealots or the Archons. Right, guys, Estrella getting a bit of bad luck in that last game. Playing a little bit blind there, not realizing that, of course, with that front hatchery, the Zerg can explode across the map. He got caught off guard. So he's going to follow up with a no scout opening. He says, all right, screw blocking your expansion. Where's the gas? Oh! He's doing a no scout Nexus first. I was like, if you don't scout, you're meant to go gas first. But I forgot, you can also go Nexus first. So Australia's going to go for a very greedy Nexus first build. Dark, going to be happy to get his hatchery up on location for the first time in this series, since there's no probe here blocking. Roan's still pumping on out. Got this Nexus starting just a few seconds behind the hatchery. And it's going to be gateway double gas usually. Actually, for him, I think he might go... He'll probably go for a double adept pressure. That's usually what Estrella and most players like to do off this opening. We'll see if he goes for it this time around. I definitely feel like Estrella had good opportunities in Game 2 and Game 3. This could have been a 3-0 series, but Dark's a very hard player to pin down. As much as I talk about him using the same 5 builds for the last 4 years straight, and like I said, he's used that last one as a response in a similar situation versus Estrella before. He's so good at doing it, and it's not really the same 5 builds. It's more like the same 10, 15 builds, because there's so many little variations that distinguish one from the other. And that's a quick third hatchery. Dark, I think, realizing, hey, if you didn't scout early, you're going to be doing a very greedy build. I think I can get away with a very greedy build. Estrella going second gateway cybercore there after the 2 gases are up. Notice he's prioritizing mineral mining. He's just rallying the probes onto the gases as they come out. Chrono boosting the probes. I do think usually Australia's style with this is going to be a sentry-focused ground game. So the idea is get sentries, get stalkers, take a quick third, and defend with raw numbers of gateway units. You're going to have slower tech than some other games, but you're going to have just more stuff, quicker third base, and that's usually his desired path. It does sometimes die to random Ravager-ling attacks like the one we saw in that last game. I'm personally hoping we get to see a bit more of a macro game this time around. Dark's openings can be a little fragile though, but Ling speed's on the way. He's building 10 Zerglings. He's really respecting the double adept pressure. And there's a Stargate behind it, so no, Australia's going to play a more traditional follow-up. Cool. He knows about this third hatchery as well, so not going to be surprised by anything. Sees a few Lings popping out right now. The Adepts are going to have about 40 seconds to play in this area before they need to run away due to Ling speed. Trying to shade on past. He sees a lot of Zerglings, and that makes you as Estrella feel completely fine. Just go home with your Adepts. You're like, oh, his drone count can't be very good. If he built that many Zerglings this early, his worker count sucks. So Estrella's just going to go home and secure a third base. This is a really smart call for him. And you can see he was up at like almost 10 workers ahead for a little bit. Dark is now going to be exploding workers and trying to catch up himself. But a very solid opening for Estrella. He's also going to get 2 more Adepts out. Oracle is about to hit the field. And I like this pylon placement. On this map base, you can hide Adepts there. You can also hide Adepts there. There's lots of places where you can hide where the Zerglings can't get surface area. Lings come in instantly, though. Oh, that is a beautiful cancel for Dark. Perfect timing. And it's not the biggest delay, but it does get rid of 100 minerals. Not bad. Second Oracle starts up now for Estrella. And he is, of course, thinking, are we going to go gases or will he play more of a charge lot style? Second Oracle does get chrono boosted. There is a Spore Crawler going up in the natural. Nothing in the... in the third. There's nothing in the natural. And there's only 4 queens out right now, so this Oracle could actually find some good damage. A Spore Crawler on its own doesn't really defend a base very well. I feel like he could have got a little more there. 6 Adepts hitting the front. There's 15 Lings out. With queens is enough to defend this. Oh, Adepts actually finishing their shade. That's cute. Denying a bunch of mining time. Probably lose 1 Adept here. Pulls away from the queens, so only if the Lings chase, but there's an Oracle there. Hey, very well done. Doesn't even turn the Oracle on. He knows Dark has to run away from that. So Oracle getting ready to maybe do some stasis traps as the game goes on. Robo Twilight Forge. I do think this is probably going to be a charge lot style out of Estrella. And I like it. I like a charge lot Immortal Archon getting mixed in there. I could be wrong. It could still be Blink, of course. Ooh, good defense by Dark. That's not a good area to hide. This Oracle in the top's going to try to go around as well. Here we go. Big Ling attack on the front. Gets 1 Adept surrounded at the exposed area. Another 2 Adepts do get surrounded. So 3 Adepts go down. But, oh, actually, no, the shield battery finishes just in time It's only 3 Adepts dying in total for 17 Zerglings and 4 drones, but one of the Oracles went down as well. It is indeed going to be a delayed blink. So blink and +1 on the way. And if you're going for blink this late, you're not going to be applying that much pressure, which is why we're seeing 6 gas. And I would expect a Robo Bay in the near future as well. 4th Hatchery is on the way for Dark. He's trailing in the work account, which is not a great feeling for a Zerg. But at least his lair's not too late. It'll be done in about 20 seconds. Oracle manages to grab 1 drone and gets out. Bit of mining time as well. Great response for Dark, pulling those workers off gas, replacing them with healthier drones. All right, second Robo and Robo Bay is on the way for Estrella right now. So Estrella is going to go from a pack of Stalkers into the double Robo play. I really hope personally that he goes Disruptors. I don't like the Colossus timings all that much. I've seen them work a fair bit. They never work versus Serral. I don't know when the last time I saw them work versus Dark was either. 4th base is also going to be needed though if you want to play that longer game with the Disruptors. Disruptors are more of a transition unit. They don't really kill your opponent. And it is going to be double Colossus. In which case, actually cleaning up the Overseer there is very important because that denies that Overseer from seeing the double Colossus production. If Dark sees that, he's going to go straight for Hive, straight for Vipers, and Vipers hard counter this push. Extended Thermal Lance has not started yet. As an Estrella fan, I'm hoping he remembers to start that. Does give +3 range at the moment. There we go. Love that the tooltip even says increases the range by 3. I guess that just grabs the numbers. Automatically updates the tooltip. Ling's there, patrolling inside the main base. A lot of Overlords building. +2 melee, +1 range on the way on the Evos. Dark is getting well set up in terms of like upgrades. Hive timing's pretty good. His work account still sucks though. So I know a lot of people, there's always people who are like, oh man, so imbalanced. No matter what happens, right? Whenever their favorite player loses, their race loses, like, no! Guys, if Dark loses this game, it's because his work account has not been good all game. He's been down or even in workers. And he's making Roaches, Lings, and Banes. This is an early game, mid-game composition. It's not a late game comp. Can he still win the game? Absolutely, for sure. But do not be surprised if he can't keep up with the numbers. If Estrella takes 1 or 2 good fights, Dark's not going to have the numbers to easily replace that. His economy is not strong enough. And actually, even a second Forge on the way there for Estrella, going for armor upgrades as well. That's interesting. Okay, that's really cool. I really like that. He can push with 4 Colossus. Maybe add a Templar Archives, get some Archons in the mix as well. Adepts are going to shade in. And they're actually going to get a few drones. He sees there's not that many drones on this base. This is what's important for Estrella. He's like, dude, your economy is not that good. My 4th base is almost finished. I'm going to be transferring workers there. I'll have almost as many workers on my 4th as you have. And being even on workers with a Zerg when you're both getting close to maxed is a very good feeling as a Protoss. Charge is on the way there. 2 Vipers are building. Looks like the Vipers will be ready unless Estrella moves out right now. I mean, they do need to gather energy. They spawn with 50 energy. They need 100 or 75 to abduct a Colossus, 150 to abduct 2 of them. Oracle goes in, gets a few more drones. He still sees, hey, your 4th base has not got that many units. This is not that big a Zerg army. I wouldn't mind Estrella pushing right here, right now. But actually, he's only on 5 gateways. Whoa, what? His main has no gateways, guys. Estrella's, he's pushing, but he's only got 5 gates. He's trying to build 3 more. His production kind of sucks. He's making +3 attack. He's got 2-1 upgrades right now. +2-1 is there for Dark as well. No Carapace, of course, but we're talking about melee and range attack. Oracle's going to keep spotting some of this. He's clearing some of the creep. Estrella's going mass Stalker Colossus. This is the classic push where you try to set up a giant spread of units and then just bait them into fighting into you. Observer coming forward allows him to clear some creep, but he needs to move it south. There's still a creep tumor there that he didn't clear up. That's a big mistake. That is not going to clear as quickly as he wants to. Notice there's a ring there where the creep is still there because that creep tumor is still up, but he doesn't notice that. And that's going to be a big problem when this fight happens. Dark just casually gives the base up. He's going to wait for the abduct opportunity. Estrella sees the Vipers. He's got to keep the Colossus back and try to focus the Vipers with the Stalkers. Templar Archives does finally go down. He's also got +2 armor on the way. The upgrades for Estrella are going to make this okay, even if it ends up just being a max of Stalkers versus Ravager, Ling, Bane. I mean, obviously the Banelings are going to be the problem because they're so supply efficient, but If he spreads out well enough, Estrella can do okay in this fight. He still hasn't cleaned up that creep trim, but that's even giving Dark vision of where all the Colossus are. This is an unacceptable mistake from Estrella, and he doesn't realize it's happening. He's probably thinking, why is this creep not going back? He does snipe one of the Vipers, though. Oh, Estrella holds his ground really well on the front. And look, there's a big flank of Lings down there, and Baneling's getting ready to go around from behind. Dark needs to set that flank up properly, though. There we go. Abduct comes in. One Colossus goes down. Second Colossus goes down. Oh, no, it doesn't. He saves it. Does the hero maneuver, picks it back up and saves it. Oh, very slick move there by Estrella. He's got to save that Colossus again, potentially, but the flank comes in from behind, trying to spread his units out right now. Stalker's doing A-okay. Colossus cleaning up some of the Zerglings. Good spready of units for Dark. Does finally blow up those Banelings. He says, screw it, just detonate. There's lots of Stalkers left over, but there's so many Lings coming out. 96 Zerglings about to hit. Only one Colossus left standing. Estrella needs to pull back right now. He's got more Stalkers coming across the map. He's going to pick up that Colossus. He needs to regroup and gather those numbers. Because look at that. The Abduct is ready, man. The Abduct is ready. The moment he leaves that Colossus on the ground for any sizable amount of time, it's going to be in trouble. Stalkers get blinding clouded. He's forced to get pushed all the way back. Stalker's still trying to fight there. Cannons and batteries will actually make a good account of themselves. Some Stalkers defending on that side. These Stalkers getting surrounded, though. Estrella's got to be very careful, man. He's getting jumped on right now. The cannon in the mineral line doing really well. Stalker's up here trying to fight. I'd like to see Estrella gather his forces a little bit more. Oh no, his worker line is under attack. He's not warping in any units there. And Estrella, unfortunately, overcommitting to that push and gets held by Dark. It looks like Dark might be able to seal the deal with a 3-1. Dark was so low on economy all game. I do think that if Estrella had gone higher up into Storm, into Archons, he would have won this game. I really do think Archons would have been absolute game changers for him, just because Dark did not really have much of a transition. It was just Ravages, Lings, and Banelings. It was a very short-term game plan for him, but of course, easier said than done, sitting here in the sidelines. Estrella is the one who was putting that pressure on. He couldn't give Dark too much time, at least in his mind. He felt he had to put the pressure on, and it gave Dark that opportunity to set up that engagement. Really, really well played. Stalkers trying to move around. Archons, Colossus, and Stalkers trying to fight on every side. The Ravager does get away on the top. Dark has done the damage. And now, yeah, he's only on 70 drones. He doesn't instantly remax, but he's up against a Protoss he's chopped off at the legs. Both of his legs are being chopped off. Estrella's hopping around saying, "'Tis but a flesh wound." But he's the only one who believes that. This is the problem with Mass Stalker. If you don't force the fight at the right time, Stalkers fade very hard the longer the game goes. A pack of Stalkers in the mid game is very effective, but as it gets to these bigger fights, you can see if anything goes wrong, they're fragile and they fall apart. And that is simply the nature of a Stalker-focused army. It is very well-rounded in that it does everything at an okay rate. But the thing is, you're going to be fighting against something like Ravager Ling Bane, which is an exceptional ground-pounding army. It's so efficient. And yeah, 4 Colossus, even with the 3-2 upgrades, like the really nice upgrades, wasn't enough to make up for that. He's going to try and turtle it out now, is Estrella, which is probably a good call. I'd love another gateway there to wall that off. He's going to try and take a 5th over here, no doubt, to just transfer workers to. Archons are amazing at defending the Ling Bane in the front of the Roach Ravager. But because there's Vipers, he can abduct pretty much everything. Actually, Psystorm did get upgraded. He's got a few storms, but not that much energy. Oh, feedback goes in, but the abduct does already come down in the Colossus. And, oh man, nice storm, but he's just getting overrun. Way too much Zerg on the dance floor. The Roaches at the front dropping down Biles. The Banelings finding the mineral line. The probes try to evacuate. The 3rd's been ransacked. The 4th is in tatters. And that is a beautiful play from Dark. Really decisive. And hats off to him for once again finding himself in multiple suboptimal positions and then making it look almost easy from there. If you didn't know a lot about StarCraft, you'd say everything went to plan start to finish for this entire series. For Dark, it absolutely did not. But Dark does not care because his games never go according to plan. The only plan for Dark is the game is going to get messed up and then I'm going to win anyway. GG, well played.